Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we are here with lesson number 3 on using the Raspberry Pi, and we are going to start learning Linux today. If you tuned into our first 2 lessons, in the first lesson we gave you an update on how to order the stuff you would need in order to follow through with these lessons, follow along with us on these lessons, and the equipment that you would need to actually get your Raspberry Pi up and booted. Good news is it doesn't cost very much money and you can get set up for well under $100. And then in lesson number 2 we showed you how to download the operating system. The Raspberry Pi runs on Linux, so we showed you how to download that Raspberry Pi version of Linux, how to get it on the SD card, and how to get the, the Pi booted. Also, as I pointed out in lesson 2, in these initial lessons, our goal is to learn Linux, and therefore we configured the Raspberry Pi to boot up in the terminal window. This is called a terminal window. It's also known as the command line, and in Linux you really operate from the command line. If you've grown fat and weak and lazy and have been using Windows-based systems, you like to just click on folders, click on folders. You open a folder, you see what's inside. You open a folder, you see what's inside of that. You click the up button, the back button, and you sort of navigate through your files using the mouse and pictures of folders. Well, in Linux, you still have that same folder system. You'll have a folder at the top. The top folder is called the root, and then inside of root there'll be other folders, and inside of those folders will be other folders and files and others and folders and files, and so it's still very much of a tree-based system. But we navigate through that tree by typing commands into the command line, as opposed to seeing pretty pictures of windows and folders. I'll tell you, once you get good at it, you really like using the command line better. It's just so much crisper. It's like you're in control of your domain. You're in control of your computer. And once you get good at doing this command line operation, you'll really like it better than Windows. Okay, so let's just jump right in and start learning what we're going to learn today is how to navigate through the Linux operating system in your files and folders, navigation in the files and folders by using the command line. If you followed us in the first 2 lessons, you should be booting into a window that looks just like this, basically a black screen with something. If you're in the same place we are, it should say Pi at Raspberry Pi, and then the dollar sign. The dollar sign is saying it is ready for a command. We are going to learn our first command, okay, in Linux. And the first thing you got to know is sort of where are you? You boot it up and there's all these folders and folders and folders and files and folders and folders and files. Where are you in this system? To figure out where you are, you type in PWD. That's sort of like your path. Where are you in the file system? PWD. And what that shows you is that the original slash here sort of means the root. So you say if you started at the root, I guess I should draw it that way. If you started at the root, you would go inside the folder called home, and inside the folder called home you would find a folder called Pi, and you are inside of that folder called Pi. Okay, so the Pi folder is where it's inside of home, and the home is where it's inside of the root folder or the highest level folder. So inside of your highest level folder, there's a folder called home. Inside of home, there's a folder called Pi, and you're inside of that folder called Pi. So the first command we learned is PWD. That's like, where the heck am I? I'm in root, I'm in home, I'm in Pi. Okay, well, I wonder, since I'm inside of this folder, I wonder what is inside of that folder. Well, what is inside of that folder? I can do a list by typing ls, and ls will show me what's inside of that folder. I can see that inside of this folder I have 2 folders. How do I know they're folders? Because it's kind of colored blue, and in this configuration it's colored, for me it's colored blue, and that would mean that I have a folder called desktop and I have a folder called Python games. Now, don't go into Python games and start playing games at this point. We're learning Linux. You can play Python games later. There's some pretty cool games on the Pi, but we are learning Linux right now. So there are 2 folders. One is called desktop and one is called Python games. Well, let's say that I want to look inside of desktop. I need to go to desktop. So I'm going to do a CD, change directory, and I'm going to go to desktop. Notice that this is case sensitive and I have to type it just the way that it shows there. So I change directory to desktop. Okay, and now let's see, where am I? So I do pwd, and look, I go to the root, I go to the home folder. Inside the home folder is the Pi folder. Inside the Pi folder is the desktop. And so now I am in /home/pi/desktop. Okay, I wonder what's in this folder. How would I do that? You remember? ls. And it shows me inside of here is nothing. So this folder is empty. So that's not very interesting. So let's say I want to go back to the folder I was before. There is a command that allows you to go up one. So I say cd, change directory, space. Where do I go? I want to go ... which is up one. Okay, ... Think of ... as up one. It takes me up one. And now where am I? Okay, now I'm back to /home/pi. What's in there? ls. I've got desktop, and I've got Python games. Let's just see what's in Python games. So we're going to go change directory. Where do I go to? Python games, or Python _games. Okay, now I do an ls. And look at all those games. Now I've got some stuff here, okay? So you can see different colors. The different colors just represent different file types. And then you just remember, if you saw something blue, the blue would indicate a folder. But you can see that these are all basically programs. They are not any folders inside of here. So that's a pretty big mess. And so I want to go back to, let's see, I'm missing the top of my screen here a little bit. Hold on just a second. Okay, like that. Let's say that I want to go back to the folder up one. So I do cd for change directory. How do I go? Up one, .. Okay, and now let's do an ls. And look, I'm back to desktop and Python games. Where am I? pwd shows me where I am. I'm /home/pi. Let me go back to change directory, Python games. Okay, look at that. Now ls, I see all of them again. Now where am I? pwd shows me where I am, and this shows me that I am in the root. Inside the root I go to home. Inside home I go to pi. Inside pi I go to Python games. Okay, now this is really something important to understand, that sort of the way that these Linux commands work is, the first thing you tell it is what you want to do, and then the second thing you tell it is where you want to do it. And so the first thing is a command, the second thing is sort of the where, and the where is kind of this past stuff that we're talking about. And so let's say that I want to ls. Okay, well, if I ls, I'm in Python games, so I'm going to see all that. That ls, I just gave it a what I wanted to do. I wanted to list, but I didn't tell it where, and when you don't tell it where, it just goes to the present folder. Well, I can also tell it ls, and I can give it the where. So let's say I want to go ls, and if you want a reference to the top, you do a slash like that. Okay, I think that would be called a /. Okay, so if I do ls, I want to list the contents of the directory. If I didn't put anything, it would give me my present folder, but I want to ls /, which is root, the top folder. So I want to look and see what's in the top folder. ls does not take me to the top folder. I'm staying in the folder that I'm in. ls leaves me in the folder I'm in, but while I'm in that folder, I go up and I look at the root folder. So if I do that, what you can see is that in the root /, the / is the top folder. That root /, the top folder, has what in it? It has a bunch of folders. It has a folder called bin, dev, home, lost and found, mount, process run, system user bar. It's got all of these different folders. But am I in that folder? No. If I do pwd, you can see that I'm still in home pi Python games. I just looked there. Well, what if I, instead of just looking there, what if I actually wanted to go there? How do I go somewhere else? CD. Okay, CD is change directory. How do I tell it to go to root, the top folder? That's the slash. So this time, instead of looking in it, I'm going to go to it. So I do CD slash, and now if I do pwd, where am I? I am in root. Okay, now if I do ls, I don't have to put a path name on it because I'm already in that, and so I will come and I see what I saw before, but this time I'm doing it, I'm in the folder and I'm just doing an ls. Well, how would I go back and look in that Python games folder from here? Well, I could change my directory and just do an ls, or I could do the ls from here. So I say ls, and then where do I go? Well, slash, I want to go home, and then I want to go py, and then I want to go Python games. Okay, and now that won't move me to that directory. I'll stay in the root directory, but I'll look in that directory. Okay, and there it is. If I do pwd, you can see I am still in the root folder, but I went down and I peeked at the files in that by giving a path name. Okay, this is very important. All right, if I say ls, if I say ls, if I go slash, if I start with slash on the path name, and this is true for any path names, if you put the slash, that says go to the top, start at the top and then go down from there. So I could say ls and I could say slash home, and then I could do that, and the folders in my home directory is a folder called py. Okay, I could do ls slash home slash py. Okay, and that has desktop and Python games. The thing to see is that if you start with the slash, that's telling Linux to start at the root and come down. If you don't put the slash, it says start where you are now. So let's go to change directory slash home slash py. So I'm saying change directory starting at the top, go home, go to py. Okay, where am I? pwd. I'm at slash home slash py. I'm in that folder. Okay, I need to bring this down just a little bit. Hold on just a second. Make it a little bit easier for you to see. I'm just worried I don't want to go off the bottom of the screen here for you. Okay, so now I'm in the slash home slash py. Well, what if I said ls, okay, home slash py? That's not going to work, okay, because when I don't give the leading slash, it's saying start from where I am now and look for the folder. Well, where I am now is slash home slash py. There is no home folder there, right? If I just do an ls of where I am, I can't say ls home py because there's no home folder there. What I would need to do is I would need to put the slash so I reference all the way from the top. So I say ls slash home slash py. So if you start with a slash, that's saying go all the way back to the top, go back to the root and come down. If you don't put the slash, it's saying reference from my starting point now the folder I'm in. So let's see, what folder am I in? I am in home slash py. So what's in that folder? ls, my present folder, desktop, and Python games. So if I wanted to look in Python games, I could say ls Python games. Why did I not put a slash here? Because I don't want to go to root. I don't want to go back to root. I want to start from where I am now. To start from where I am now, I don't put a leading slash. So I say ls Python games. It'll look for the folder Python games in the present folder. It'll find it and it'll list it. Okay. What's another way I could get there if I wanted to go back to root? Well, if I wanted to go back to root, I would say ls. I got to start all the way at root if I did it this way, and I'd say home, and then pi, and then Python, spell correctly, Python games. Okay. And then that works. That gives me the games. Or I could just say ls Python games. Okay. And why can I do that? Because if I look in this folder, you can see that it's here. I just want you to learn this, and I want you to really understand this, because every single thing that we are going to do on the Raspberry Pi in Linux, there's sort of two parts. The command, what you want to do, and then where you want to do it. The where you want to do it is this file structure, this path structure, and so you've got to get familiar with how you do the file navigation. So let me ask you, if I want to go to my root, if I want to look in my root folder, how would I do that? I would say ls for list the root, and boom, those are the folders in it. If I want to go to the root, what do? cd for change directory, that's the command. I want to go where? Go to root. Now if I just do an ls, I'm in that folder, and I will see all those folders in there. Let's go back to cd, and I'm going to go to /home/pi. Okay, what's in there? We're back to seeing desktop and Python games. Now, what is two different ways that I could get to the home folder? That's the folder above the Pi folder. I'm now in the Pi folder. How do I get to the home folder? Well, one way I could do it is I could start from where I am now. I could say change directory, and I could just go up one. Change directory ... That's up one. Okay, now if I look at pwd, where am I? I'm in home. Okay, so I went up one. Let me go back to where I was, change directory, and I'm going to say /home/pi. Okay, and now I'm going to do an ls, and you can see that I'm back to home pi. And so one way that I could get to the /home from the /home/pi is just go up a level, change directory ... Well, I'll show you a different way I could do it. I could say change directory, go up to root, and come down to home. Now if I do pwd, you can see that I am in the home folder. So when I'm in Pi, there's two ways I can get to home. I can go up one by doing cd ... and I go up one, or I could go cd/ all the way to the root at the top and then come down to home. So I can come into it from below, or I can come into it from above. Okay, so let's go to desktop. So let's say I'm going to get to desktop. Well, how would I get there? Well, I'm in home, so I would need to say change directory. And then do I use a slash or do I not use a slash if I am going to go to Pi? Well, I don't use a slash because slash would take me up to the top. I want to go from where I am now, so no slash. Change directory Pi, and then desktop. Okay, so now if I ls, you can see, if I pwd, you can see that I'm in /home/pi/desktop. Now, what are two different ways from here that I could get into the Python games? Well, Python games are in Pi, so it's up one and then down to Python games. So I'm not going to go there, I'm just going to look in it. So I'm going to remember the path nomenclature is the same for any command, so I'm just going to look in it. I'm going to look in it by saying ls. Well, how would I get to Pi? I'd go up one, okay, and then come down to Python games. Is that how it is, if I remember right? Yeah, okay. I didn't go there, I just looked in it. If I look, I'm still in home Pi desktop. All right. So how would I look in the Python games folder? I would say ls, give me a list, and I'm going to go up one. That would put me in the Pi folder, and then down to Python games. Python underscore games. So look in it like that. Okay, and that works. What's a different way I could do it? I could say ls, and rather than going from my present location without the leading slash, I'll put the leading slash, and I will say go to home. Look in home, Pi, and then Python games. Okay, and ooh, it did not look like that. Didn't do an underscore. Okay, so I needed to do underscore like that. And boom, there it is. Okay, so / takes you to the top, references things from the top. No deleting slash references things from where you are now. / takes you up one. Okay, now there's really now at this point we can kind of go wherever we want to. It's just, and there's multiple ways of doing it, but just understand, if you have a leading slash, ls, if you have a leading slash, that takes you back to the root and creates the path name from the root. If I just do that, it'll just show me the root. Okay, I can say change directory, start at the root, go to dev /dev. That would be this folder. Okay, and I click enter. And now I could do a pwd. Where am I? I'm in / the root inside the dev folder. I could do an ls now. Okay, those are all the files and folders in the dev folder. Okay, how could I, what are two ways that I could look at the root? Right now I'm in root /dev. How could I go back and look at the root folder? Well, I could just do ls ... that says look in the folder one above, and that shows that. I could do an ls / which says go back to root. Okay, and it does the same thing, because if I'm one level down from the root, saying looking one folder up is the same as saying looking in the root. Let me go back to DEV, or I'm in DEV. Let me change directory to raw. I'm just trying to show you how to get around. Now if I say ls, okay, if I say pwd, you can see that I am in /dev /raw. Well, now if I wanted to look in the list the root directory, I could say ls / that would do it. If I said ls ... that wouldn't do it. That takes me up to the DEV. If I want to look all the way up and I'm 2 folders down, if I want to do it that way, again, I could say ls / look in the root. That would work from anywhere, or I could say ls ... that takes me up 1. Have I gone up far enough? No, I haven't. I need to what? /... That says go up 1 / go up another one. And now you can see that we are looking at the folders in the root. I hope this isn't too terribly tedious for you. It's just, if you already know this, great, you know it. But if you haven't seen this before, you've got to understand that there's these folders. And if you do just a ... that takes you up 1, and then / where you want to go from there. If you start with a /, that takes you all the way to the top, to the root, and then you've got to navigate down from there. If you don't put any leading /, it's saying start from referencing where you are now. So you have to always think, do I want a leading /? Do I not want a leading /? Okay. So how could I get back to my home /pi? Well, I could do change directory. I could go /, and that would take me up to the top and come down. Or if I want to reference from where I am now, I would want to go up 1. That would take me to the DEV folder, and then / up another one, which would take me to the top, and then I could go / home /pi. Okay, now where am I? PWD. I'm in /home /pi. This PWD is really useful when you're kind of learning things, because you can always sort of see where you can see where you are. All right, so let's think about what we learned. Really pay attention to this. In Linux, you give it the what, the command that you want to do, and then you give it the where you want to do it. Okay? If on your where, on your path name, If you start with a slash, it starts all the way at the top, and then you've got to reference things all the way down from the top. If you don't put the leading slash, it's saying reference from where I am right now. Dot dot takes you up 1. Dot dot slash dot dot takes you up 2. Dot dot slash dot dot slash dot dot takes you up 3. So you can kind of go up and you can go down by just putting these things together. Okay, and then PWD will show you your path. CD tells you to change the directory. The what is change directory, then the path is where to change it to. If you do LS with no path, the LS just shows you what's in your present folder. Or if you give it a path, it'll show you in a different folder. It doesn't take you there, it just shows you what's there. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. I hope you'll play around with this. Just kind of work your way around. Just keep playing with this, because everything else is going to be easy if you understand this path nomenclature, this path methodology of dot dot is up up, slash is start at the top, and if you don't put a slash, you start from where you are now. Play around with this. You guys spend an hour or so playing around with this, because if you will understand this path methodology, everything else in Linux that we're going to do is going to be easy, because everything is going to be a do a what, and then where do you want to do it. There's different ways of doing the paths, and just sort of become familiar so that you can just seamlessly get around. But you see, for me, I mean, I would a lot rather do this CD slash, okay, and then LS. Look, I'm in my home directory and I've got everything I want. I go CD slash home slash pi, LS, and I'm back to my Pi folder. You see, I mean, I like doing that better than clickety 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 clickety. When you get good at this, it's a lot faster than having to fool with those windows with pictures of folders. It's the exact same thing, but you're just commanding your way through it, and you'll get really good at it. Okay, in the next lesson, we're going to learn some more commands in Linux. We're going to learn how to look at a file. We're going to learn how to move a file. We're going to learn how to start maybe moving files and looking at files, and sort of getting making directories, deleting directories, doing some things like that. So we're going to learn more commands in the next lesson. Tune in. That will be lesson number 4. Again, this is Paul McWhorter at toptechboy.com. If you found this video useful, think about giving us a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel, or maybe even hit the share button and share it with other people. We will see you shortly in lesson number 4.